Ну а наш следующий докладчик — это Aco Vidovic, который является архитектором IT-решений и руководителем департамента развития экосистемы IBM в Центральной и Восточной Европе. Он отвечает за стратегию, программы и координацию деятельности. В своей роли специалиста по облачным технологиям, когнитивным вычислениям и IBM Watson, и также проводит семинары для IBM Ecosystem. Ваши аплодисменты. Aco Vidovic.
Спасибо. Добрый день. These are the Russian words which I will use in this presentation. And the presentation will be about the virtual assistants. Who knows what that term means, virtual assistant? Few people. How about a chatbot? Who knows what is a chatbot? Many more people. So these terms are actually interchangeable. You know, we use the terms virtual assistant, digital assistant, smart agent, digital agent, and so on. Chatbot is a well-known term, and I use it, actually. I prefer using chatbot. It's short, simple, everybody understands what it is. However, the word chatbot suggests this is used for some casual conversation, which is really not important, right? The reality is the chatbots are becoming very, very important in business. So I'd like to show you how they are being used today, what is the prediction for the near future, and what is my company doing in this area. So let me first start with some of the market dynamics and market analysis. The Gartner, well-known IT analyst, they predict that by the year 2020, the 80% of all buying processes will be done without human-to-human interaction. 80%. So most of the buying will be done with a person communicating with something else, right? Some chatbot, some smart agent, whatever we call them. They also predict that by the year 2020, the smart agents, or chatbots, if you prefer that term, will facilitate 40% of all mobile interactions. 40%. Now, IBM has made a survey among the CXOs, worldwide survey, asking them, about their business and how they're doing and so on. And among others, we asked them, what do they fear the most? And more than 50% of them said they fear the competition which is coming outside of their industry. And if you look at some market leaders in some industries today, they are very recent. If you look at who is the biggest retailer in the world, it's Alibaba. And they own no inventory, which is what typically retailers have, right? Or the biggest taxi company in the world owns no taxis at all, Uber. The biggest media owner in the world produces no media, Facebook. And we can have a lot of examples like that, but the thing is, the industries are changing very fast. And the technologies are behind those fast changes. And if you look at how these chatbots or smart agents, whatever term we prefer, how they are being used, well, they're being used by a human using their natural language, talking to a software. So chatbot is a software that is used to engage human into the, communication with their company. So the research that was done by LivePerson, they were asking consumers what kind of communication do they prefer. And it's really two main types, right? If you use the language, the natural language, you can either speak it or write it. Now, 70% of them said they prefer writing. They prefer messaging over the phone calls. And 64% of the consumers, according to the Salesforce, they say they expect real-time answers, meaning at night, during the weekend, public holidays, all the time. And the same people also said they expect that the communication is personalized, Even if it's done by some software, they expect it to be personalized. 84% of people said that. So, how is that related to chatbots, our topic here? Well, the chatbots can perform that functionality. And the prediction of the Juniper research is that by the year 2022, the chatbots will save $8 billion to companies. 8 billion with a B, okay? So this is a prediction they did 2 years ago. At that time, they estimated that the savings were 50 million with M, okay? So huge growth in the next 4 years, which means huge business potential. And again, another research from the Servata research says consumers prefer communication via texts. So this is why most of the chatbots are really done via texts, and to look at what are the main use cases. How are the chatbots being used today? So there are 3 most often used use cases. So one, it's customer support. Companies supporting their customers when they have problems or questions or inquiries. And why do they do that? Well, because it can save the time, reduce the time to help the customer, which means increase their satisfaction and reduce the costs, because everything goes faster. The second most often use case is assisted shopping. Online shopping, assisted by chatbots who are guiding their customers to find what is, interesting for them and then help them buy that stuff. And this is mostly done through the mobile applications or websites. So we've seen one case earlier, the 1-800-Flowers, right? That was the gift shop where you can use the chatbot to select what you want and then order it and they will send it to you. And the third use case is employee productivity, which is basically about employees of the companies being more productive because they learn the processes faster, they understand what to do, they can assist their clients faster. Very often this is related to the human resources area. Now, how are these chatbots being created? Who makes them? Well, very often it is the companies who make them by themselves, for themselves, or they order some, software vendor to create it for them. And in both cases, they would very often use platforms, chatbot platforms or frameworks, which help them build those chatbots very quickly. So there is a research that was published a few months ago by the Moscow Institute of Physics and Technology. And you can read them here. You see there are 2 links here. One is the original version in Russian and the other is in English. So you will see what they did. They looked at the most popular and important chatbot platforms and rated them, ranked them, okay? And this included the worldwide providers and also local providers from Russia. So you will see IBM is one of them. It's on the list, actually. It's ranked number 1, which was, we were very pleased to see that. But the point here is that every one of you here in the room can build a chatbot, at least with IBM technology, very quickly, and you can have it available for your clients. And this can be done for free, actually. And what I would like to show you now is few customer implementations of IBM chatbots, because we know them, right? We know what they did and why they did it and what was the result. So one is the Orange. Orange is a telecom provider in France. And they decided to open a new business, which is banking, okay? So they opened the Orange Bank 2 years ago without having the experience in banking. It wasn't their business, right? And it was the first fully mobile bank which interacts with their clients over the chatbot. So the chatbot is the first point of contact for the clients to this bank. The chatbot would answer questions, provide information, and when the chatbot doesn't know the answer, it calls the human agent immediately, and the human agent basically gets engaged, right? Without the client having to, call some toll-free numbers and then listening to the answering machines and selecting options. All that is done automatically. What they do this way is every week they do 24,000 customer conversations. The other implementation is Tru Mutual, which is a bank, big European bank, and basically they use the chatbot to help their employees, and the employees are actually customer advisors, talking to customers, advising them about the banking programs, loans, credit cards, and so on. So it is the customer advisors who use the chatbot to get a really good information which is relevant for their particular case. Now, how can chatbots do that? Well, chatbots are actually being trained for a specific domain, right? So in this case, they were trained to understand the banking business and banking terminology. And if they're used for another domain, they would be trained for that domain. The training is done automatically by IBM Watson, okay? What humans do is providing examples to Watson so the Watson can learn from them. And the learning is actually ongoing, meaning the learning happens during the development phase, and then even later in the production, Watson learns from the customer's queries that are happening throughout the time. Now, this one is a software company, Autodesk. Maybe some of you are using their products. They are very famous providers of the 3D design software and engineering software. So they changed their business model recently from licensing their software to subscription, okay? So what they predicted is when they change the business model, there will be a lot of questions from their clients. How do I do this? How can I get that software? How much does it cost me? And so on. So they decided to implement at the same time the chatbot as the first source of the help desk for the clients, right, who come and ask questions. And what they achieved in this way, they improved their response times by 99%, okay? So before that, the average time to handle the customer case was 1.5 days. With a chatbot, it is between 5 and 10 minutes, where most of that time is really used for the customer, typing in the question. They measured the customer satisfaction after that. They got 10 points higher satisfaction, which was, great result for them. They handle 100,000 questions per month, the chatbot does, right? The nice thing about chatbots is they work all the time, at night, during the weekends, they're never sick, they're never tired, they're always in good mood because they're being trained for that. Now, Volkswagen Brasil, they decided to create a so-called cognitive manual for the car owners. So, those of you who have cars, I believe that would be most of you, you know that this became a very sophisticated machines with the chips inside and software, and they come with the manuals, right? So if you want to really use all the features, you would read the manual. In their case, they decided to allow the car owner to just talk to the car and ask questions. So the chatbot will handle frequently asked questions, and it also allows the owner to, that the cars, they have those lights on the panel, right? The light that show you, replace the water or fill in the oil or, change the tires, stuff like that. So there are many lights. So how can you remember all of those lights? Either you read the manual or you take the phone, make a picture of that light, send it to the system, it will recognize what it is, and it will tell you what to do. So that's what I did for one of their models, one of their car models. It's called Virtus. What they achieved with that, they reduced the number of calls to their help desk. And they developed their image in the country as being the leader, the innovation leader. This insurance company, they use chatbots for their sales agents, those who sell insurance. And the chatbot basically advised them what is good for the particular customer, what kind of insurance, and so on. So what they achieved with that, decreased the amount of conversations they need to do with their clients, decrease it by 30%. Japan Airlines, it's an airline company, obviously. What they decided to do is to provide advices to their clients on travel destinations. What would be the suitable and interesting travel destination for them? Personalized. Now, Chatbot does it, and how can Chatbot know what is good for one person and what is better for the other person? They combined it with another software that analyzes personality. And based on this personality analysis, then they go and suggest the travel destinations. So if you look at those slides behind me on this side, there is this light blue box which lists some of the names. They're all named Watson something. These are different products and technologies that were being used in these cases. Watson Assistant is the technology that is being used for creating the chatbot and running it. Netapp is the cloud provider. So they offer cloud services. People can go and they can rent a server or host the application. And when they're doing this, basically, it's highly technical environment, meaning can be complex. So the users must know what to do, how to do it in order to deploy their application to cloud. So they use a chatbot to help them. And what they got is 4 times faster response, meaning much faster deployment of their solution in the cloud. MultiChoice is the TV broadcaster in South Africa, the biggest one in sub-Saharan Africa. They use chatbot to train their employees. They're growing fast. They're hiring a lot. They would need to train their people. And they use chatbot for training. And with the chatbot, they reduce the training by half. So before that, the training period was 6 weeks. And after implementing chatbot, is 3 weeks. Volume, I have just a few more examples, okay? So Volume is a marketing company in UK. So they are fully digitalized marketing company providing digital contact. They have subsidiaries and partners in many countries in Europe. So they implemented chatbot for both their clients to ask questions and for their employees for training. Now, in their case, the training time was reduced even more. It was reduced by 96%. And I have one more. These people are tax advisors in US. So, not sure how the taxes work here, but in US what they do, once a year, every citizen must declare their income, and then they can also use some benefits, and then they get the deduction of the taxes, right? So they can do it either by themselves, or they hire a tax advisor to do it for them. And the idea is they get more savings because the tax advisors are professionals who know their business well, right? So this company implemented a chatbot for their tax advisors so they can help their customers better, to advise them how they can get some, credits. What they achieved, 2-point increase in the customer satisfaction, who said they are coming back. Now, if any of these subjects sounds interesting to you, I suggest you drop by the IBM booth, which is in front of this room. They have you'll recognize that they have a robot who can talk to you in Russian, okay? And you can get more information about all of these technologies which I mentioned, including how you can learn it, how you can use it. We often do these training sessions. We did one yesterday, actually, and we'll do it again very soon. So with this, I thank you very much for your attendance and hope to see you at the IBM booth. Thank you.
Спасибо большое, Ацо.